That's probably the biggest thing
Mm,
is taking the agenda out of, okay, I'm here to show you, like, I'm here to save you. I can't do that. I can't save anybody.
yeah,
That's not my
that's
job
good.
on earth. My job on earth is to point you to Jesus. And to point you to Jesus, I have to show you the love of Jesus.
Welcome to Sacred and Strange.
All right. Well, welcome to Sacred and Strange. My name is Jay. I'm your host. Today, I am joined by my good friend and brother, really, Tristan, who I know now for almost 10 years and just carries a
That's
ton of
crazy.
wisdom. That is crazy. Almost 10 years,
10
man.
years. That's wild.
Almost 10 years of friendship, brotherhood, almost wanted to kill each other a few times, working on my brake pads, all kinds of just brewing beer, lots of good
Yeah.
stuff. Tristan's someone who carries a ton of wisdom. He's walked through a lot in his really still young years. Someone I respect a lot, someone who is really, always in your corner. Really glad to have him, really thankful to have him. Thankful he said yes to jumping on here and sharing his story a little bit. So, with that, Tristan, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're doing
Yeah.
now, all that stuff.
So, my name's Tristan. Been born and raised in Redding, California for 29 years. Haven't left. It's a small little town up in Northern California. I'm a pitmaster at a company called Odo Craft Barbecue. We started off as a little pop-up shop, and now we're growing to be this massive, like the name in catering up here in Northern California.
Now, when you say pit master, does that mean is that like a gladiator pit? Like you're making,
No, so you call the smokers the pit. That's what you cook everything in. And so I'm in charge of all of that side of our company. So anything basically meat related, my actual official job title is Master of Meat. It's what I came up with.
nice. Do you have that on a card?
I don't have a card yet, but it's on my Facebook. It's Facebook official.
You got to get it on LinkedIn, man.
I got to get on LinkedIn. I don't really have a use for LinkedIn right now. It's not really
No,
popular.
you're approaching 30
Uh,
and you have master in your job title. You got to get on
yeah.
LinkedIn.
Okay, I'll get on LinkedIn. But yeah, outside of my job, I've been going to a church locally. It's called The Stirring so that was 13, so 16 years now, and been involved with youth ministry since I was a youth, and still as an adult leader coming up on almost 12 years now. So what I do, I like to hunt, I like to fish, I like to be outside, work on cars, like a jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I know we've got lots of history between the church, between Northern California, but there is one piece of history I want to get it right in the front end. We both
Comes.
had the shared Bigfoot experience.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Okay, so you share your part,
Yeah.
and then I'll follow it up because that's the sequence that it happened in.
Because if I remember, they're only like 24 hours apart, the two
It was like
experiences,
it
or
was
like
like a
48
week.
hours apart.
It was like a week, but it was pretty close. Actually, you might have told me on a Thursday, and I was going out hunting that Saturday, so it might have been about 48 hours.
And as we go into it, I want to preemptively say, I still look back at that phone call that I got as one of the most vindicating moments in my entire life. So, so here's how the story goes, right? So it was around the time of the car fire, which for
Right.
anyone who knows Northern California, about 7 years ago or so, we had just a crazy fire season. I was working at a boarding school that was on top of a mountain that you had to take a logging road to get up to between Shasta and Mount Lassen. And the fires are still going. We had this crazy fog smoke for like weeks. Like literally you would look out your window and you would think it was foggy, but it was just all the smoke coming from the fires. So I was coming up this mountain. I had my son, my oldest, who was not quite one yet, in the back seat. I'm coming around this corner on this mountain with this log road that's really only a car and a half can get through it. So like you're constantly having to look around the corners to see if there's a logging truck coming. because if there is and you don't move in time, you're toast. You're going off the side of this mountain. So I come around this corner and probably 40, 50 yards in front of me, it's smoky, but I can still see there's this giant, had to be at least 7 feet, bipedal thing, hairy. I remember seeing gray on the shoulders that clears this road in 2 steps and hops in. There was, so one side was a ridge with some trees coming up, and to the left side where it passed into was just woods. It was, I don't think call those still sequoias at that point, but they're these redwoods that it's pretty thick forest. There's ferns and everything. So it crossed this road in 2 steps, hopped into the woods, and it was one of those, like, the hair on the back of my neck instantly stood up. I was like, I'm looking at something I should not be. That shouldn't happen at all. And I'm going like 30 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour around this road, and immediately hit 60, went the rest of the way up the mountain, took my son out of the car, ran into the dining hall at the school where I was coming into a meeting with my bosses, only for them all to be like, because a lot of them lived up there on the mountain. They were like, yeah, we see it all the time, man. This is nothing new. They're like, that's Harry. It's just what it is.
Yeah,
so I come home. Go ahead.
We actually have all of our youth camps are up there now. They got repurposed to like a retreat center.
Yeah.
So now we actually have every like summer and winter camp. We actually use, it's called the Summit now, but we use them for our.
It's a beautiful campus.
Yeah, it's gorgeous up there.
Beautiful. So anyway, I come home. I called my wife, told her I come home. I think we were all hanging out that night or something.
I used to just show up at your house and lock in the doors.
It was awesome, man. I miss that, to be honest. But I remember telling you guys, like our core group of friends, like, this just happened to me today. It was one of the wildest. I don't know what to do with this information. And who was the biggest troll in that group?
Yeah, that was me.
This guy saying there's no way, nothing, like, definitely didn't happen. So from that point, I'll let you take over to what happened just a few days later.
So that Saturday, me and my buddy Tyler, we're going out to go hunt, and we go up to Shingletown. There's a spot about probably 10 to 15 minutes outside of Shingletown. We're at the park,
which is where basically I saw it's right between.
It's right between. So between Reading, you go up, you can take a offshoot and go up to Whitmore, and then if you keep going on the main road, there's Shingletown, and it's just land in between.
Yeah, so there's like a cattle or 2 cattle ranches or something between there.
Yeah. So it's probably 20 to 30 minutes between where he was at and where I was at. There's actually a road that connects because when I went up there, I was like, that is the road. Because there's a road that connects, and I had no idea where it went, and actually goes up to the school. But I was out probably 5:30 a.m. with my buddy Tyler. He's 6'4", big dude. And we got rifles in our hand. We're chugging through this path. And we just hear this like demonic, it was like a low screech. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like this thing. It was unnatural, should not exist on this world. And the hair on the back of my neck stood up. The same with Tyler. We just look at each other and we just start walking back to the car. We're like, nope, I'm not having anything to do with this. Go back into town, go to Shingletown, and we go to this gas station to get lunch. And we YouTube what Bigfoot sounds, and that was the exact sound that we had heard. So I immediately called Jason, and I was like, dude, I heard Bigfoot. And the rest.
Well, the first thing, which I think is maybe one of only 3 times, because this is the friendship we have, right? Maybe one of only 3 times where you said, you started the conversation with, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't say that a lot unless I'm 100% sure that I was wrong. And I was 100% sure that I was wrong. I called Jess. I said, I'm sorry. You're right. Bigfoot's real. I've just heard him. So yeah, that's my Bigfoot story. And ever since then, like, when I'm around those parts, I'm always like looking over the back of my shoulder. I'm like, Is he gonna pop up? Like,
It sticks with you, man.
it
When
does.
you have an experience like that where you're like, I just experienced something that does not compute with my worldview. It just it
And I've told that story to quite a few people, and there's like definitely a argument to be made of if it's a demon or not. And
oh,
I'm under the impression that it's 100% a demon.
I think yeah, let's go there. Why not? I buy into the theory that it could be transdimensional.
Yeah, yeah, it could absolutely. But like Reading, Mount Shasta-Lassen, there's
Weird.
so many people that literally come here just because they think it's like some supernatural portal. There's talks
Well, you
of
have
like,
the Lemurians, right? Live in
yeah,
Mount
so
Shasta.
there's a species that live inside of Mount Shasta, like underneath everything. That's called the Lemurians, and they're here
Yeah.
to take the world. And there's people that like worship the Lemurians that literally travel from all over the world. Mount Shasta is one of the 8 power spots of the world. I don't know the other 8 or the other 7, but Mount Shasta is like one of the power spots.
What one I heard is Mar-a-Lago. I heard one of them is Mar-a-Lago.
I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard that one, but it's like more natural occurring
Yeah.
spots in the world. Like they're channels of power that go to like dimensions, and I just think all that's either horse hockey or demonic. So
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, I think, lots of spiritual things that are going on that we don't understand. Scripture talks about stuff like principalities being over certain regions and all of that sort of stuff. I think that stuff's definitely at play all over the place, but definitely that area from the Trinity Alps, Lassen, Shasta, even going up to like Crater Lake is just it's a weird area.
it's so weird. There's some things you just can't explain that happen up here. It's not as like on the scale of Appalachians,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's like there's some weird stuff that happens that I'm like, I don't know an explanation for it. It just is what it is.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting, like to read about, and definitely very different to actually experience it yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you watch the documentaries, you
Yeah.
watch the shows, and you're like, that's just some guy in a hairy costume. But then you hear it or you see it, and you're like, yeah, that's real. Yeah, they're so denying it anymore.
Yeah.
That's absolutely 100% real.
Yeah. It's anyway, I'm glad I wanted to get that right out on the front. Start you somewhere humble,
So, yeah, I thank you for that. I miss that humility in my life, someone to humble me.
Listen, I'm here for you, bro.
I had that with my buddy Noah Baxter. We play a lot of
Mm.
sports together.
Mhm.
He's the high school and junior high pastor at the Stirring, but we're like best friends. So we actually are in a church league softball league together.
You guys started a softball league after I left?
Yeah, it's been a few years now. So we didn't start it, but we're now like running it. Like our church is running
As it
it,
goes.
helping
Yeah.
run it. But it's probably 12 churches in town. And there was one
Reading
time,
does have a lot of churches for like only having 90,000 people. It's got a lot of
like
churches.
180
Yeah.
churches, something like that. But we were playing and I got called out on second base, and I called the umpire a clown. And I was like, it's
In the
church
church
league, bro.
softball league.
It's church league, bro. I was like, you're right. He's one of the only people that can talk me down from that because I'm highly competitive. So when I think there's like an injustice or something that goes wrong and not in the right way, I will call you out on it. But yeah, he's like, dude, it's church league softball. Don't worry about it.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Aside from Bigfoot and church league softball, you have a really, really interesting story, really tough story in a lot of ways. As far as I know, you've had a kind of this interesting dynamic with your dad, your mom. When we first met, I think were you 19,
I was
20?
19, yeah.
And at that point, you'd already basically fended for yourself for a while. So what was that? Kind of talk to us about that a little bit. What was that like growing up?
So growing up, my parents They had me. My dad one night said it was an accident, but there's no
Ouch.
accident. Yeah, and there's no accident God's planned. But she and my mom met. My dad's actually originally from Japan. He's a dual citizen. I believe he was dual citizen. Now he's just a German citizen. But when he was 7, moved to Germany. When he was 18, he wanted to come to the US, and then he met my mom selling Kirby vacuums in the Stack area. So they had me. Then I had my sister about a year and a half later. They split up when I was 3 or 4 years old. I was really young. So I'd only really known like a divorced household
Mm,
and like constant custody battles all throughout my life. We were in court. My parents were trying to use us to get custody of each other, and just wasn't great. It wasn't a great living
yeah.
situation. But both my parents loved me, and both my parents were involved in my life throughout my entire childhood. But just having that constant conflict shaped me to always having conflict as the norm. And that's where I feel safe is when, you know, I can have conflict with you and we don't have, you can love me through that. That's like where I feel safe, where I feel most comfortable. But I didn't know the Lord. My mom was an atheist, is now Buddhist slash, last time she was here, she said she was Muslim. So she's just really confused in her faith, I think. I don't know what she wants, but it's really confusing. My dad, though, I believe he was raised in Christianity in Germany
Mm,
with his foster family. But out of respect for my mom, he didn't raise us to have any Christian, like anything to do with the church was not really taught out of respect for my mom. He just wanted to respect that, her wishes. She wanted us to make our own choice. So when I was 13, my dad had just gone through a pretty bad breakup, and he invited me to go to this church that our family friends had been going to. And I was like, yeah, I'll check it out, see what the big hoopla is about. And it was like your atypical church, like old man preaching. They had this girl leading hymns, and there was hands blowing her hair back. And it was just, I was like, dude, this is weird.
this was in Reading.
This was in Reading. Yeah, the Sound Bonneview Church. But yeah, it was really weird. It wasn't for me, and I was like,
Did,
I don't know if I want to go
did
to
you say
church.
this the Soggy Bottom Church? What did you say?
No, the South Bonneview Church.
Uh,
Yeah, right
Soggy
across.
Bottom. Oh, brother, where art thou? You ever see that?
Nope,
Oh man.
nope.
Anyway,
Uh,
continue.
so then our friend was like, you should come check out the string if you guys are interested in going to church. And at that point, we had been in the basement of the Nazarene church. We didn't
Mm,
have our own thing yet. And I just finally found like I was home. And so, yeah, it was hard with my mom, but my dad and I were super close because we had this common connection of church. Like we always wanted to go. But my mom had a hard time with it for sure. And I, once she saw like the change in me and the change that my youth pastor being involved in my life really gave me, she definitely warmed up to the idea. She's been a couple of times, but that faith really between the ages of 13 to probably 17 with her it was really hard because I didn't feel like she understood me or understood where I was coming from on certain issues. And so it was that my relationship with my mom was definitely strained because of it for a while. And then my dad remarried for the second time in my life because I had a stepmom before that. They had split up. And then my dad remarried, and we were living all together. And with my dad, it's very performance. I felt like it was a very performance based love. He comes from a Japanese household, get good grades, do the best you can, and you get my love. If you mess up, if you don't do what you're told, then you'll get yelled at. And they're
mm,
just one point when I was 17, I just got off work, and he told me to do the dishes, and I was doing them wrong, and he yelled at me. So I just said, "F this, I'm out." walked out, went to there was a Starbucks close by, and I was just trying to call people. I was like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Technically, my dad has custody of me right now, but I'm 17, so it's like up in the air. So I just called my mom. I was like, hey, Dad and I just had a big fight. Can I stay with you? Absolutely. So I stayed with her. And my dad and I didn't talk for 10 years, 10 or 11 years.
Wow.
After that fight, like there would be like hellos, highs. There was one time we did try to do a conflict resolution with my youth pastor, but it just didn't go anywhere. And so him and I didn't really have a meaningful conversation for probably 11 years.
Wow.
We recently have been mending the fence and building a relationship again. But yeah, it was a long time till we actually could sit in a room together and be cordial and actually enjoy each other's company.
Wow.
So I lived with my mom for a long time. Her and I would still fight at times about certain things, but we would always be able to hash it out. And then she moved to China, and that was like really difficult. I felt she was abandoning me. She didn't want to be.
How old were you when she moved to China?
21. It felt weird, like, because I was still living at home. I was like, I'm supposed to be the one to move out. You're not supposed to. I should always have a home to come back to. She was like, no, I'm like, I need to do this for me. She doesn't really like living in America. She wants to travel the world and see new things, experience new things. I had a really hard time with that because I was like, my dad doesn't talk to me. I don't talk to my dad. My mom's moving 5,000 miles away. I can only talk to her at night because of the time difference. So I felt I don't really have a home. Like I had a home, of course, like actual house to live at, but I didn't feel like I had a family that was close to me. My sister and I weren't really that close either. So it was like, I don't know where to find family. And that's where at the church, I found people that adopted me as their sons, Mitch and Lanice. I eventually just stayed the night at their house all the time. I was hanging out with them. I called them mom and dad, Tim and Billy Scott. Like they adopted me and they still call me their family. But also like you guys, you, Jay and Aaron, Josh, Shayla, Kyle, Rachel, Dennis and Erica. They're our core group of guys. I was like, okay, this is like a patchwork family that I've built and I feel safe in it. And then everyone moved away again. Everyone moved away and I was like, I'm back to square one.
In my defense, I asked you to come with me.
I don't want to move to one liberal hellhole to another one. If I'm gonna move, I'm gonna move to a free state. And I was considering moving to New York. I gave it a lot of thought and prayer. I just didn't feel really called to that. But yeah, so throughout I don't want to say that it's been a pattern, but it has been a pattern. If I set up this nice community, it feels safe, it feels secure, and then everything blows up. That's been like the story that I've been telling myself for a long time. Like people just, they're not going to stick around. They're not going to stay. And I had to spend a lot of time with the Lord of like, no, you're just actually really good at building a close-knit community. You're really good at building people that love you and people that, want to be there for you and you want to be there for them. You're just really good at that. So when like people leave, it hurts, but it is a gift to them and to you for that season.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, go ahead. And like now with my dad, I go up every holiday pretty much. I just go up there. He actually lives in Shingletown, so I'm always looking up for Bigfoot.
Okay.
He lives pretty close by, so I go up there and visit him. And then my mom, she travels the world, but she always brings her kids with her. Like we've been to now Dubai twice, Japan, been to China, France, Italy, Greece, Florida. Been to a lot of places. So
Florida is basically its own country.
Dude, Florida's gross.
Sorry, any Floridians.
Yeah. I'm sorry for you Floridians that decide to live there because it's a swamp and disgusting. California weather's peak, so
120 degrees doesn't feel great.
It doesn't feel great. It's better than,
but there is no humidity, which is nice.
100 degrees and 95% humidity.
Yeah, it is another level. I've been working the last few days putting up, like finishing my garage, putting up framing. And we hit 95 yesterday with 85% humidity. And I was like,
Another reason I didn't move with you.
Oh man, I was like taking ice water and just putting my head in it every 3 minutes because it was terrible. It was awful.
Yep. Not
Awful.
for me. Not for me. I'll take 120 degrees and no humidity every day of the week.
It's definitely different. I want to ask really fast because I didn't actually know this part of your story. I didn't realize that your mom wasn't necessarily on board with you going to church.
Yeah,
Was it,
at first she was like, why would you do that? What's the point? I decided to get baptized, and my mom thought it was a manipulation of my dad, so she wasn't at my baptism. I can't speak for her, but she just has issues with Christians in general
mm,
and what she's seen portrayed and what Christians represent.
was she raised in a house that went to a church, or was it?
Her mom is my grandmother. I have my issues with her. She's extremely hypocritical, says that we need to follow the commandments, and she
Mm.
doesn't do it herself. So whenever I mess up or make a mistake, she calls me out for it. So I can definitely see where my mom, being raised in that, can have an issue with Christianity and faith in general. So
Yeah, I didn't actually know that. I don't know why, I thought for some reason that she had been going to either the stirring or had been going to churches
she
before.
was going to, after a while, probably 3 or 4 years, to support me, see what it's about. She really likes Nate and Mike Cruz when he was with us. Really
Mm.
loved when they preached. She thought the worship was cool. But yeah, she's still finding herself in that. So
Is that ever hard for you as someone? Because really, your faith, and I've seen you wrestle a lot with faith too throughout the years, but like your faith's really been the thing that I think got you grounded through those
mhm.
crucial moments. Has that been hard for you to not be able to connect with her? Like I know when you were younger it was hard, but now as an adult, we're now because right when we become adults ourselves, we start to relate to our parents and see our parents as adults and all that sort of stuff. Has that been harder for you now as an adult to not have that piece of your life be a connecting point with your mom?
It definitely has been. Yeah, with her, I get to really practice my defense of my faith. We'll say that.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
like she
I,
challenges you a lot.
she does challenge me a lot, and it's good. Like it's never in hostility. It's coming out of a place of I'm trying to understand this better. But she is, yeah, she challenges it a lot. But I do have like good mother figures in my life, and I was at a retreat probably 2 or 3 years ago where I was just sitting, meditating and praying with the Lord. I was like, what do you have for me in this? I was just there to cook. So I was like, what do you want from me in this? Is there anything that you want of me? He was like, you've never been prayed for by a mother figure. Like you haven't
Mm,
had someone who's a mother figure really speak into your life and speak prophetically into your life, the mother figure. So I asked Kim, I was like, hey, you're like my spiritual mom. Can you pray for me? So that was really healing. And she still does that a lot. But yeah, it's definitely that aspect of your real blood mother when she doesn't have the same faith you is really difficult because like she's a good person. She's extremely generous, extremely loving, but there's like that aspect where you're like, I would really love to connect you on that level, but I just can't. It's not there. So
how do you take that reality and still create moments of connection with her? What do you connect on, and how do you, as a son, keep that connection alive with her? What is it? What have
yeah,
you found
so
works for you?
it's just living out the teachings of Jesus, living out how he would live out and how he would love people. He didn't necessarily force religion on the people that needed it the most. He just showed up and loved them. So doing that with my mom, just loving her and loving her where she's at and being okay with reality that we may not ever connect on that level, but I can still love you and be your
Mm,
son. You can be my mom, where there's not like any hostility. Like there's not, I don't let my faith necessarily hinder me from people that don't see the same way. Like I love to connect with people and challenge them and let them challenge me of okay, we might not see eye to eye, but I can still love you for the person that you are and the
mm.
person that God created you to be, even if you don't know it. So with my mom specifically, I'm just like, I'm open to talking about it. We don't have to talk about it, but I'm just going to show you the same love that Jesus shows me. That's how I handle really any situation with someone that doesn't see eye to eye. We don't have the same faith. I'm just like, I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to have an agenda. That's probably the biggest thing is taking the agenda out of, okay, I'm here to show you Jesus. Like, I'm here to save you. I can't do that. I can't save anybody.
Yeah,
That's not my
that's
job
good.
on earth. My job on earth is to point you to Jesus. And to point you to Jesus, I have to show you the love of Jesus and that you belong in my life. You belong in this community. You belong with these people before your behaviors and your beliefs would follow that. So once, like, I always come out of it, you belong. And if you want if you want to follow this life with me, absolutely. But I'm still going to be here for you.
Yes. No, that's good, man. I know a lot of believers and even just people in general who, because we all have agendas, whether you're a believer or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always go into relationships with some sort of agenda that you got to be aware of all the time. And that's such a big revelation that I don't think a lot of people even think to be aware of, right? Of like, how do I actually just be selfless in this relationship? How do I actually just be present with you and love you without having that little voice in the back of my head going off of make sure that you get them to go to this place or make sure that you get them to do this.
Yeah.
That's I think that's such a powerful revelation and tool that I've seen you walk with. I actually saw you do that a lot when we worked in the high school ministry together.
I get some rough kids. I get some really rough. It's been a pattern. Sometimes I'll have the pastor's kids, and even with them, I don't want to have an agenda with them because everybody has an agenda with them. Like everyone has this vision of what they should be, how they should act. And I'm like, this is just a safe place for you to come and be who you actually are. And that has, especially with those kids, been like, okay, they can actually trust me when there's not a lot of people in the church that they can trust. If they're doing something wrong, if they need help, they know who a safe person is to ask. And even with like difficult kids that are just being forced to go to youth, I'm like, I get it. There's kids like you think the best thing for them is to go to youth, and it probably is, but they don't want to be there. Just setting it up to be a safe place for them to be who they are, and then showing them the love of Jesus. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to change who I am because you don't know Jesus. I'm just going to show up to be 100% authentically me and be unapologetic about that, because kids can sniff through the BS.
Oh yeah.
No one, if you try and fake something, they'll be like, no, that's not you. Like, you're faking this. So just and I get in trouble for it sometimes. There's some things that like I said that I probably shouldn't have because I'm like, I'm just showing up. I'm just me. And I'll apologize for that. But there's been like moments with some of the hardest kids that I've seen the most breakthrough because nobody in society wants them. Nobody really wants to deal with them. I'm like, yeah, give them to me, because they're actually powerhouses. They have the potential to bring more people to Jesus. So I'm just going to show up. Hey, what's up? What do you want to do?
Yeah. I think you're really good too at showing up in really subtle ways. Like one of my favorite things that you would do, I don't even know if you were conscious of it when you're doing it, but you used to like DJ before youth. You remember that?
Still do
but
that.
I remember you like asking the kids like, what are the good songs like right now, or trying to like, that's such, when you're a teenager, right? Music is everything, music and all that. So it was like this subtle way I saw you make connection with them at that point an adult, even though you were still just freshly an adult.
Yeah, freshly.
No frontal lobe yet.
Yeah, no.
But just a subtle way of like making connection with them that I think, I remember looking back at the sound of the computer, and you'd have all these kids around you and you were just setting up playlists and doing all this stuff. And it's such a great example of how just showing up in little ways, paying attention, making them feel heard, making people, not just teenagers, just making people feel heard, that I think you do really well. That it's always stuck with me in the back of my head. I remember seeing that moment with Tristan, and I remember watching how people would congregate to him simply because he was being himself but making connection.
Yeah, something that I've learned from probably the last 5 years, and it's something that I do subconsciously, but is when you enter a new relationship, that person has 100% trust.
Yeah.
And when you show up in a relationship with that, instead of, oh, you have to earn my trust, what gives you the authority to demand that? Like when you show up with just 100% trust, okay, I can trust this person. And until they show me differently, I'm going to continue to trust that person. It's like relieving because you're not constantly looking for the bad of like why I shouldn't trust you. You're just like, yeah, I trust you. And until you break that trust, that's when boundaries have to be set. But until you do that, we're good. And that's kind of like how I approach youth ministry in general. Is just like, until you're smoking weed in the bathroom, we're good. Until you cross a boundary, we're good. So not coming at it like, oh, you have to earn this trust. No, that's not how the kingdom works.
Is it really youth group though if you're not doing something sneaky in the bathroom?
Oh man, dude. I don't think I can talk about.
No, we definitely can't. This is a family-friendly podcast. We definitely can't.
We can?
No. That'll be the after show. We'll
after show. It's good.
Yeah, we can trade horror stories of bathroom checks.
Yep, bathroom check.
Man, I just really appreciate your story, dude. And I know that there's even more that we could go into, but I definitely want to ask because I spoke with Josh actually just last night. We recorded, and I realized that one of the things that looking at that season when we were all in Reading together, but looking at you guys specifically, that I've seen be just a really powerful dynamic is you guys really embraced mentorship and like getting mentors in a way that was really, it was really powerful. It was really intentional. And I saw and see it as really the backbone of how you've stayed rooted, and you have community and all that stuff, and talking about spiritual mothers and fathers, but we can all have spiritual mothers and fathers and never let them speak into our lives. But I've seen you guys really intentionally seek those people out and say, hey, it's the difference between intimacy and transparency, right? Transparency, you can see me, but intimacy is see me, know me, speak into me. And I've seen you guys really seek out intimate mentoring relationships. Like, where did the value for that come from? And how have you even sustained that going into exiting your young adult years?
Yeah, so with mentoring really started with Aaron Hayes. He really took me under his wing when I was just starting to come to youth. He was like, I'm gonna make you a student leader. I want you to have ownership in this. And that level of trust, even though he didn't really know me, is wow, okay, I can trust you. And that's where like mentorship started for me. He would take us on these retreats. He'd spend a bunch of time with us. Youth group started at 6:30. We'd show up at 3:30 just to hang out with him. And so at a very early age, it developed into, okay, this is something that I need and something that's helping me grow. And going into the stirring, we have a program called Emerge Discipleship. And I was in the second year of that. So really just getting a value, coming out of youth group, going into adulthood, continuing that mentorship, having someone that's 2-3 steps ahead of me in life has just led to more value, because we can read all the self-help books we want. We can take all the advice we want, but until you have someone that's in your life that sees the truth in you, can call you out and can call you up, that actually has a little bit more of experience.
Yeah.
It just adds so much value to really your self-growth, because that then translates to someone that's 2 or 3 steps behind you, to where they're the ones that you're bringing up. So it's just this like flow, and like that mentor that you have actually has a mentor themselves.
Yeah.
So I've had that value to have someone because at an early age, I realized I didn't have everything together. I didn't know everything. I couldn't do everything by myself. So having someone that, is a little bit farther along than me that could actually give me wisdom and help me grow. It's kind of like a cheat code in life because you don't have to figure it out yourself. Like you have someone that actually went through that very recently or within the last 3 to 5 years that, you can lean on their wisdom and they can help you carry that. So I see a huge value in it. Yeah.
What would you say to someone who maybe they haven't had a value for that, or they haven't experienced that? Like, what was the thing outside of Aaron putting you into leadership? What was that first moment where you were like, I need these people in my life? And like, how would you translate that into something for someone who like isn't getting that right now, doesn't have a value for that, hasn't experienced that? Like, you would encourage them, you need to get people like this in your life.
It's the 3 a.m. phone calls. Who's gonna answer the phone at 3 a.m. for you when you're going through what seems like the hardest situation you've ever had in your life? I've had like multiple calls like that I had a mentor named Paul, even Aaron, and a bunch of different mentors to where I can call them at pretty much any time. Like one time, my uncle had died unexpectedly, and they just sat there, listened, and prayed with me through it. So it's finding those people that are the 3 a.m. people, the people that will pick up the phone pretty much whenever and just be there for you
Yeah.
and asking for that. Having the humility to ask for that as well is huge.
Yeah. What was there a moment for you where you had to actually pause and say, I actually need to get out of my own way and be humble and do this?
I would say that it was when my dad and I really had that disconnect. When we were going through it, I was like, I can't fix this. I don't know what to do with this situation. I don't have any control of this situation. I want to restore the relationship and I need someone else's help because I can't do that. And that's where my mentors came in and they were like, hey, let's sit down, let's talk, let's try and hash this out. And if they don't want to hash it out, then I'm still here for you and we can still walk through the pain and the grief and get you to the other side.
Yeah. Man, that's so powerful. And I know that you've walked with that value. And I would even venture to guess that because prior to being master of meat, you were a very good barista. Like food's always been your thing.
I was a very good barista, wasn't I?
You were a very good barista.
I
would
still
still like to steal you.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
I'm a little out of the game, but it's been a minute since I pulled a shot. But yeah, I love being a barista. That was fun. Not a lot of growth to go past barista. The only thing next is like manager. And
There's no like master barista.
There's no master. There's no master. There might be now, but
master of the bean.
Master.
No, not a thing. But I think that the thing that is drawing my attention to that is we're talking about mentorship, we're talking about community building, and at the porch, the whole reason why we're trying to do this missional cafe is there's nothing that I can think of that's better, does a better job at bringing people together, bringing people to the table, building community, creating outlets for mentorship than food and hospitality.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was that a conscious thing for you?
No, subconscious. I always felt when our family had dinner together, it was a very intimate, okay. We don't actually get to spend time with each other outside of the table and when we're chilling at home. And when we're chilling at home, typically a screen is on. But when you're at the table, you have to look at each other face to face, eye to eye, and actually have a conversation. That's when I felt most like I was connecting with my family, was at the dinner table or at the cereal counter when I was at your house.
Yeah.
We would catch up and just vent about our day, say the good things that we did, praise for the accomplishments we did. And that all happens around a table when you're eating food. So I've always loved making food and creating that space of hospitality for people to come sit and feel like they have a seat, because I do care about what's going on in your life.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a connection for you in the future? Like, what is What's next for the Master of Meat? What's the dream? What's the vision? Are you looking at doing something around that in the future, or?
For right now, we're just focused on, we're actually building a restaurant. So getting that heart and that mindset into that restaurant space is probably going to be like my main goal, is to make sure like it's a place to where you feel welcome, you feel at home, you feel like your family. And we actually care. Like, I feel like I carried that well as a barista. There's still people that I talk to that we talk about the times that I was a barista and they'd come to the coffee house and they became regulars because of the hospitality that I provided for them, and bringing that into a restaurant space. And even every catering event that I go on, I want to make sure you feel welcome, you feel at home, you feel like you're seen and connected with. That's just kind of like my mission.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think that's just your call. It's not almost, it is. It's kind of like a pastoral call. And you might be smoking up meats and catering and doing all this sort of stuff, but that desire to create safe space for people where they can be themselves and they can show up and they can, whether that's good or bad or whatever, that's a ministry call. It's like you've always had this thing around food, but it's a ministry thing. And I think that's really profound. Important question with regards to the catering. You are catering a wedding.
Yep.
Do you get on the dance floor?
Depends on the wedding. Depends on the wedding. I have to feel the vibe first. Typically not when I'm just serving,
Yeah.
unless I know the people.
Yeah.
But if I'm bartending and it goes late in the night and it's just like a few people, like if there's a few people left and they're like, dude, come on, dance floor with us. Actually, at a wedding I was bartending at, we actually taught them how to do the boot scoot and boogie.
Did you know the bride and groom or you just went?
No, I didn't know anyone. So
For those of
they're
you who
like,
don't know, Tristan is notorious for wedding dancing.
we don't talk about that. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
You told me in writing that there was nothing we couldn't talk about.
We can. I did say that. Yeah, when I'm invited to a wedding, I've actually thought about this as a business model. But when I go to a wedding, I like to have fun. It's like one of the only times that I can just be free and let loose. And so when I'm at a wedding, I like to have fun, like to dance, like to get the crowd going. So as a business model, I actually wanted to have you hire me out as a hype man for crowds that are pretty boring. You're probably not going to get them on the dance floor, but you rented it out already. So you got to get a hype man to get everyone out there. So,
Do you want to hear something funny? So where Long Island, right? New York City, but Long Island is like, it's a major wedding destination. Like the wedding market
like
out
from
here.
the city, from the
Yeah,
people in the
it's
city. to Long
yeah,
Island.
it's nuts. So city, Connecticut. It's crazy because you can get married in a vineyard. You can like beachfront wedding. Like it's nuts. You can hire hype men for your wedding
Yeah.
out here.
Dude,
It's
we don't have anyone here. We don't have anyone running to do that. And I'm like, I'd make so much money off of that.
dude, I went to a wedding. This was probably, I think it might have been right before Aaron and I moved back out to Reading because I think we were only just a few years married ourselves. But we went to this wedding where the DJ, it was like this package. You had a hype man, but the hype man was a percussionist and he had these drums attached to him. And
Oh.
he would play to the music, but he'd walk around to the tables and be playing the drums and like hyping people up and getting them out. It was wild.
That's crazy.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely Northern California's got some big wedding locations,
Oh,
dude.
we got some big venues. Yeah, we got some pretty big venues. So
You could bring the brisket and the moves
yeah, brisket and the moves. That'll be my slogan on my my LinkedIn. Brisket and the moves.
on the LinkedIn. You got to get
Like that on LinkedIn.
Man, as we're just wrapping up, I just want to make some space for what is one thing if you could go back and talk to 13, 17-year-old Tristan to give him something of encouragement, what's something that you would say to him?
Trust in his plan. Even though it's hard, trust in his plan. It doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make logical sense to a lot of people, but you will be fulfilled if you trust in his plan and follow it. Because there's been a lot of opportunities to where I could have done something completely different, and I feel like it could have derailed my life. So trust in his plan, trust in his goodness and his faith. So
That's good, man. That's good. Hey, really appreciate you. Love you. Thankful for who you are and your story, and jumping in, talking everything from Bigfoot to childhood trauma is always fun. It's a good time.
always a good time.
Would you close us out in a prayer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Father, I just thank you for this conversation that Jay and I got to have. I thank you for his brotherhood. I thank you for his family. And I pray for every listener that tunes in. I pray for their families and keep them safe, and to have Holy Spirit just encounter them in new ways that surprise them and just provide for them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hey, thanks, man. Next time, some new Bigfoot stories, okay?
Yeah, I'll try and go Bigfoot hunting.
Nice. All right, bro. Love you.
Love you too.